Hello, I am Mike Rife. I am the minister here at the Vansant Church of Christ, and I also fill in from time to time as a PRN chaplain for Medical Services of America. And I want to share with you a little bit today about a subject that none of us want to go through, but yet we all struggle with it once we get there, and that's the subject of grief. There are so many people in our world who are so gifted and who are so knowledgeable on this subject, and there have been many books written and all kinds of pamphlets handed out and all kinds of suggestions given on how to handle this subject of grief, and you are going through it at this time. However, I'm going to refer to the Bible. Now, the Bible is a great book, and it's a book that is so practical that we can learn so many things in life that will help us and especially deal with this subject of grief. I'm going to look at Jesus for just a minute. Now, the Bible says that he was a man who was acquainted with much grief. And one of his most famous stories, when actually it was his last miracle that he performed before he went to Calvary, was when he raised his friend Lazarus from the dead. Now, we often talk about that miracle and the power of his resurrection, and that's good. But however, we can also see how Jesus dealt with grief, how he dealt with grief during that time as well, because the story comes to us from John chapter 11. Mary and Martha, the two sisters of Lazarus, sent for Jesus. And they wanted Jesus to come because the words were, when he got the news from the girls, these were the words, "Our brother Lazarus is sick." Well, the disciples got ready and they wanted to go, and Jesus just told them to wait a few minutes, because actually more than a few minutes, but a couple of days. But Jesus said this, "Yes, Lazarus is sick, but his sickness will not end with death." However, just a few days later, when he finally arrived into Bethany, I see the first side of Jesus being tender and how he dealt with this situation, because he went to where they were. You know, Jesus had all power, and he could raise Lazarus. He could raise Lazarus from wherever he was at. He could have just said, "Lazarus, come forth," and he would have. But Jesus went there personally and individually. So what you are going through at this moment, I want you to know Jesus is with you. You are not alone. And I'm sure you feel like you are alone, but you're not. And once he arrived there, both Mary and Martha sort of questioned him. They questioned him, and they both said, "Lord, if you'd have been here, or where have you been? If you'd have been here, our brother wouldn't have died." And I'm sure that part of your grief that you're going through at this time, you have questioned, and you've asked, "God, where are you? Why is this happening? We're crying out to you. We've sent for you. We've sent requests to you. Why is this happening?" But Jesus understood, and he just reminded them of their faith when he said, "Your brother will live again." Your brother will live again. And in doing this, he didn't scold them. He didn't shame them. He just reminded them of their faith. And I just want to encourage you that in the midst of this grief, Jesus is with you. And I know you can not understand, and you are questioning a lot of things, but Jesus says it's not going to end in death. And then I see a very tender side of Jesus when he looked around and he saw how everybody was crying and everybody was weeping. And the Bible says, you know that famous verse, Jesus wept. You see that side of Jesus. Not only is he with you, and not only is he reminding you of your faith, he's also hurting with you. And it hurts him to see you hurt. So with this little thought about Jesus and Mary and Martha and the raising of Lazarus, when he eventually raised him from the dead, I want to give you these suggestions, okay? Recognize, first of all, you're not alone. God is with you. And second of all, realize that Jesus is not only with you, he's hurting with you. And I would like for you to make a request to God that he can turn your sorrow into joy. And just simply rely on God that He will not leave you, nor will He ever forsake you. God bless you, and I hope this little video has been a help to you.